We know this budget today, of course, sets a direction of travel for delivery of public services in Wales and sets the tone for investment and growth in Wales. But in terms of direction of travel, a starting point for that travel is a result of a quarter of a century of previous budgets from a Labour-led government here in Cardiff Bay. And let's see what the results of the last 26 years of Labour budgets look like. Wales, by far, has the longest NHS waiting list in the United Kingdom and the worst educational outcomes, stunting the futures of our children and young people, despite the Welsh Government receiving £1.20 in funding for every £1 spent on these services in England. Not only that, but people in Wales have the lightest pay packets in the UK, and businesses are slammed with the highest business rates in Britain. It's not a pretty picture. We were desperate to see a budget today that changed the course of the Welsh Government and the prospects of the people of Wales. A budget that sought to fix Wales instead of ploughing on with the same old failed orthodoxy. What we've been presented with today, though, is merely a sticking plaster over the problems that far too many people face in Wales. The budget before us today won't chart a new course. It won't fix the deep-seated problems that 26 years of Labour have given us. It won't lead to greater prosperity for our people. It won't put more money in people's pockets, and it won't give us the public services that people of Wales are crying out for. But it's no great surprise, of course, that Labour are happy to carry on like they have since 1999. Even if the opinion polls are telling them that the next Senate elections may well be a very rough one for them. It's no wonder that so many are standing down ahead of the next elections. Instead of tackling the big issues, they've increased the bureaucracy budget by a third in 2 years. They want to channel funding towards 36 more politicians in this place. And rather than putting forward and funding a Welsh winter fuel allowance, which they argue is outside of their remit, they spend millions and millions of pounds on international relations, which have nothing to do with the Welsh Government's remit. These are just some of the reasons why we as Welsh Conservatives have been clear that we would not support this continued waste and misallocation of spending priorities. Coming on to the passing of this budget today, because of course it looks like it will go through. It was disappointing to see the sole Liberal Democrats propping up this failing Labour administration through a pretty weak deal. And I say that with all respect and fondness for the member. But perhaps it's not surprising, given the Liberals have happily propped up the Labour government in this place at various points during devolution. Instead of endorsing Labour's quarter-century failure, it would have been very welcome if the Liberal Democrats instead stood up for farmers and rural communities across Wales, instead of siding with the very Labour Party in Cardiff, London, that is undermining the rural way of life and placing unbearable burdens on farmers. So.
I'm really interested in your last comment that I've failed to stand up for farmers when I've secured £10 million in this budget for our farming communities. And time after time again, as you well know, I have stood up to Labour in order to ensure that our farmers have the voice that they need. So please, could you give me the evidence for that? Thank you very much.
We believe a deal, much stronger deal could have been brokered between the Lib Dems and Labour in this place. They failed to do that.
Can we hear Sam Curtis in silence, please?
To clarify for the member from the Liberal Democrats why I believe, like you, the Lib Dems have failed farmers and agriculture in this budget. Because if you follow the inflation index of the Bank of England, it's not £330 million that should be allocated to Welsh farmers. It's over £500 million, which Dame Dodds did not get in this budget.
Thank you. I agree with those comments. Welsh governments have a different way. We would stand up for Welsh pensioners by backing the implementation of a fully costed Welsh winter fuel allowance, which was slashed by the UK Labour government, meaning 400,000 Welsh pensioner households will be going without the allowance thanks to London Labour. Let's not forget that Cardiff Labour have refused to stand up for Wales and rolled over when Starmer and Reeves chose to impoverish older people here in Wales. We will deliver a fairer funding formula for our local authorities that delivers for all of Wales and puts more money in people's pockets so they can choose to spend their money on the things that matter to them. We'd unleash our economy and abolish business rates for small businesses who currently labour under the highest rates in Britain. We would work hard to tackle waste and misspending by dealing with things like the £250 million spent on NHS agency fees, which is far too high, a result of the lack of long-term healthcare planning from this tired Labour Welsh government. Llywydd, this budget won't fix Wales. Wales needs change, and the Welsh Conservatives are the only party who can offer a real, positive alternative to the past quarter century of a failed Labour government. Diolch yn fawr iawn.